South Africa says a COVID-19 emergency loan will be used to address the urgent financing needs of the government. The country secured a 17.2 billion rand loan from the New Development Bank. It was established by BRICS member countries. Well, what are some of the conditions that are attached to this loan? Let's find out. I'm joined by Monale Ratsoma. He is the Director General of the Africa Regional Center of the New Development Bank. Good morning, and good evening rather, and thank you so much for your time on News at Prime. Firstly, let's talk about this loan. South Africa, of course, isn't the only country within the BRICS group that has been given this kind of facility in order to help fight COVID-19.
Yes, good evening. Yes, I think, well, at the start of the pandemic, obviously that had hit China first. So the bank swiftly moved to assist China with an emergency loan, which was designed as for health emergencies. As you would have picked up very early on in China, there were reports that they had to set up some temporary hospitals, and also obviously together with that was just procurement of medical supplies. So the loan was packaged around that support. Beyond that, of course, the pandemic has spread across the globe to other member countries of BRICS and the New Development Bank. In South Africa, then we sought to do the same with the offer for an emergency loan, as we have now obviously been reporting, the $1 billion loan.
Let's talk about sure. Go ahead.
Yes, it will also be packaged along the very same lines, which is to support health response, but also there is a bit on the social safety net. And the reason we have done it in two parts is very much that some countries will be hit most on the health part, and some countries will obviously suffer much more in economic impact. And I mean, depending on how quick the country wants to respond to the pandemic, may suffer a health crisis, and less so perhaps on the economics. In South Africa, the health response in terms of spend has not been much, because there was very early lockdown, but then the economic impact has been severe. So our loan is packaged more to a smaller extent on the health response, and to a larger degree is going to be supporting some of the social safety net in terms of topping up the social grants.
Let's talk about some of the conditions that are attached to this loan.
The conditions are quite straightforward. Conditions are that in the very same way that we do our traditional business of supporting infrastructure, that we package around a program, and the money must be spent on that program. And beyond, of course, the crisis in this case, we will be expecting some sort of reporting on what the money has been spent on. So there is a framework that will govern having to monitor that which we said we are financing. In fact, that's where the money was spent. And in this case, would be health and also the social safety net response.
How concerned are you about the reports of corruption that we've been getting, especially around the procurement of much-needed PPE and other supplies in the health sector? They do seem to be those that are taking advantage of the situation. And I wonder, in terms of the reporting mechanism that you've put in place, how much of an expectation you have on the South African government to also give assurances in that regard?
No, we'll be obviously working very closely with government on the reporting mechanisms that we would have put in place as part of the loan conditions. So that in itself will demonstrate the extent to which the money has been spent on what the money was sought to be spent on. I think in multilateral development banks over time have built themselves around having to build fiduciary oversight, and that is it is not therefore limited to this loan. Even in the past when we were doing infrastructure, I think the strength of fiduciary oversight is that which seeks to address some of the potential governance issues, and that is not limited to procurement. It's also on environmental and social impact, and all of those we monitor quite closely. So we handhold in other words to ensure that the programs that we design do not end up, in some way or the other, veering off from what we have put on as a package. So in this case, we will be obviously, drilling deeper when the reporting comes beyond the crisis, trying to obviously ensure that the money that we have expanded through to the government has been spent on the program that we jointly designed. And I'm highlighting jointly because this is collaborative work where we, as a bank and the government, we obviously agree on a template and we agree on a list of programs that are going to be covered on both ends, on the health response and also on the other end on the social safety net. And that becomes a method through which we are able to monitor as we go along on the program. So, so the likelihood, therefore, that you may, with all those, with the fiduciary oversight that has been built in, that you may have some of the issues that you raise, I think, is very well managed.
Any other countries on the continent that you're going to be funding?
I think at the moment, as an institution, we are only financing programs in member countries, very similar to how the World Bank operates, how the African Development Bank operates. It's a member institution, member contributing institution. So we are financing only those countries that are members of the bank. And of course, there's a program that we are currently in the process of, which is to open up membership for other countries. It will be obviously in the continent of Africa, which is the office that I run, managing that process, and of course in other continents as well. There is a process to start inviting members, but at this stage, the extent to which we're able to assist is limited to countries that are already members.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. Monale